All right. Okay. So today's show, we're going to be dealing with commit, presentation, and the close. This is in a series about selling cars. If you want to learn how to sell cars, you're in the right place. You have reached the Car Man's channel, and every day we broadcast between 5 and 6. Actually, we kick off at 5, but it could last up to an hour. Depends on how long it goes. Sometimes not so, but sometimes a little longer. This is information, and hopefully you can use it. Feel free to ask any questions you want. It's open forum, and we will be ready to go in right now. Oh yeah. One last thing. I'm going to touch a base ahead of time for what we already talked about. Kind of looking at my notes. So the first thing we actually talked about when this whole party got started was we started with the meet and greet. When we gained the people's respect, I'm going to feather you through these real quick. So we went through the meet and greet where we're trying to gain someone's respect and a little bit of information what it's going to take to actually sell them. Found out a little facts about them, and then we turned around and then we've landed them on a car, and we've done a walk around. And that walk around, what we've gained to hope of that is them to be at ease with the quality of our product. Now, on top of the quality of our product, we want them to have comfort in our company. And on top of that, we've established that we are the authority on the vehicle. So they feel comfortable with your knowledge, and they feel comfortable that their money's being spent on something worthwhile. And then we moved from there. We ended that with them being in the driver's seat. And then we took them for a test drive. And on the test drive, they fell in love with the car. You found out how much cash down they've got. Both drivers have drove the car. They like it. You've asked them to park beside their old car, which they have. And you've kind of assumed that they're going to buy it. You've walked around their used car and did a reverse sell. And now it's time to walk them inside and let's do business. And that's what that'll take you up right now. Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Big Cliffy, Mr. Cortez? Y'all doing good? How's the lighting? Is the lighting okay? Let me throw some light on y'all guys. Right, guess the lighting's all right. I'm not really a film guy. Hell, I'm not even close to a film guy. Who cares? Okay, so all right, so the people have walked in, and man, we're all in love now. We all just are, just man, they love you, you love them. Hell, y'all are sending each other Christmas cards. Life is good. We haven't talked numbers yet. We're just, hey, we're best buddies, and you're gonna come in the office, and I'm gonna sell you a car, and you're gonna sell them a car, and they're gonna buy the car from you, and hell, we're just rolling in the hay, and we're just all in love right now, which is probably the best moment of the whole car deal. All right, so we get them sat down, make sure they're always comfortable, because anything that's annoying them, like do they need to use the bathroom, they will throw that on you as soon as you do numbers. So go ahead and make sure they have they've used the bathroom. If they need refreshments, go ahead and offer that to them, because if you don't offer them refreshments, they're going to use that for an excuse to get out of this in a second. So follow what I'm picking up here. Everything that can possibly go wrong, you need to head off ahead of time. That's all I'm saying. All right, so they're sitting there, and most dealerships, you're going to have to get a certain array of information. You may already have some of it, but to present a buyer's order to your sales manager, basically, you're going to have to fill out a buyer's order, which would be the vehicle information, mileage, their information, their car information, all that boring stuff. So, also, you'll go ahead and pay off the 10-day payoff on their car at this point if you haven't already. You may have already done that point. In that case, you're ahead of the game. But go ahead and get all the pertinent information that we need. We need the payoff on the car. We've got to have their stuff because we're getting ready to pop credit bureaus. We're going to assume that they're good credit. We're going to base this on a good credit customer right now, too. And then, but so we filled out all the information, and now what do we do? Well, we've got to test the water before you can go start working the sales desk. So how you test the water is you're looking for a commitment to buy, not for a specific number, but you just want them to be committed to buy. So you might say something like, "Hey, let me ask you this: I'm going to present this to my sales manager, and basically, what I need to know from you is if I can get the numbers correctly today, if I can make everything all right, you would purchase today. And they're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. They might say, "Well, I mean, the payment's right. If this, yes, sir, we get it. We get whatever you want. But if we can get what you want, you'll buy today." What we're trying to do is we're trying to get them in the mid mindset that this deal is going to happen right now. That's the most important part about what I'm saying. So as soon as you can do that and they sign it, now you have the ability to negotiate a car deal, because now you can fall back on that as you're negotiating your numbers here in a minute and you do the presentation with, hang on, sir, before you roll, or ma'am, before you don't, we're just trying to make a deal here. um okay, if you're not happy with this, you said you'd buy a car today, let me earn that. And you see, you get to play the good guy. The guy at the desk, he's always the ass. That's just how it works, and you're always the good guy. So you want to make sure, remember, now you've got a lot of time invested, man. You've been on a demo ride with this family. You know who they are. You know their test drive. I mean, you know their kids. You know why they need you know everything about them. So they have all their trust in you. So you've got to keep that trust with you and not the desk. So you've got to be an immediate separation of church and state. And you need to be, those guys are the dicks and the assholes. And I am the good guy. I am the good guy. They're the bad guys. Period. In the story. Don't even, I hate the sales managers. Whatever you got to tell your customers, you don't like the sales managers, and that's fine, because the sales manager is a jerk off. That's fine, because they've got to have somebody on their side because they need to win. Remember, a good deal is both sides got to win. So you've got to help them win for what they want, quote unquote. All right. So I think we all got the idea of the commitment part of this, or why that I'm basing it on that. All right. So the presentation becomes very this is probably sometimes you have sales managers just I hate to say it, I hate to keep using curse words, but some sales managers just jerk off. So they're going to hit you right off the bat with full retail down payment and a full ridiculous payment twice as high as it normally would be. And at that point in the game, you've got to go back and face your customer. Usually, what I say is I it usually takes 3 rounds around the block to be able to do business. Um, so the first around the block, I call that the blow by, because I'm not expecting them to hook up. Some people do. Some people will be like, all right, and that's it. I mean, they got like 900 beacon score or 850 beacon score and 100% equity and 5 grand down, and they can buy whatever they want, and that's just how they are. A lot of elderly people are like that because they don't really like to negotiate or anything. So sometimes they'll let you make a little bit of money on them because they just don't want to deal with it. But the average person is going to haggle with you, so be prepared. So round two, or I'm sorry, when you present to that first one, you're going to piss them off. They're probably going to go up on the ceiling, fall back down. They're going to have all this remorse about even sitting down with you and wanting to buy a car. It's going to be an emotional ordeal that they're not going to want to deal with. You're not going to want to deal with. Nobody wants to deal with it. But it's a necessity in what we do, because it's the only way we can get to the deal. The dealer has to know how much money that they're going to let them make. So the only way to find out is you got to ask for all of it, and then let them fight for what they want. Or you got to get down to whatever it takes to make the deal happen. And that's unfortunately, that's the way it began in the beginning of time, and that's the way it'll always be. Now, I do understand that sometimes you can have like an invoice sale and they're pre-approved loans. So that would kind of like negate what I'm saying right now. But I'm just saying the average person walking in trying to get a deal. That's what I'm just saying. All right. So rounds, if you got them, calm them down. Once you calm them down, be like, hey, listen, I get it. Let me see what's going on for you. So, and then this is where you want to write down their offer. And this is just how I always taught all my salespeople to do. Whatever their offer is, get them to signature it. I mean, and the reason is it makes them feel like, hey, this is official. This is what I'm willing to do. And it gives them back some of who they are. Like, it gives them a little bit of self, I guess, self identity into the deal. Like they get to be a key player. They're not just pushed around. And it's just a mental thing. So If they say, "Well, listen, man, your payment's too high," okay, that's no problem. What kind of payment are you thinking? And let's just pretend they said 200, and we know that 200 is not going to happen. Just me and you, we know that right now it's going to be like 300, but the desk is at like 450. You might go ahead and hit them up a little bit and just see if you can bump them a little bit right there. But whatever it is, just say, "Hey, listen, all right, 200. Can you do anything on the down payment?" And then they'll tell you what they can do, and then whatever they do, of course, you ask them for just a little more because this is the round two is you trying to actually put a car deal together. So let's just assume they get somewhat close. And then you say, okay, so you could do the X amount down and X amount payment. All right, and you'll buy it right now. Let me just sign that so they know you're serious. Boom, they sign it. Away you go. Now it's time to work the desk. And the desk is probably going to be like cussing and bitching because they have to actually do something to earn a car deal, which is all right. I used to get really mad at my sales managers. I used to fire them pretty regularly just based on the fact that they were just too lazy to actually make car deals happen. But long story short, round two comes in. Round two is pretty important. What's going to happen on round two is this is where the rubber meets the road. So we go ahead and we get pretty close, and this is where you're going to get real marginal to a car deal. And you go in, and now it's time to move them from the $200 a month up to the 300, 325, whatever it takes to make a car deal happen. Your guy's he's gonna be lying to you, but you can pretty much guess 15 grand, 300, $1,000 per, $20 per $1,000 finance generally will get you bought somewhere. So you can kind of in your math, if this guy's got a 20 grand car, he's on fit there 60 months, he's at $400 a month, period. Okay, unless he's got really good credit, then you can extend it and lower the payments and all this, that, and the other. All right, so round two is where you get into all those little factors. So here's what I always say on round two. When you come in, you walk and say, "Hey man, I went and really did this. I tried to get this deal for you. This is where we're at now. What do you think?" You go ahead and present the numbers. This is your payment. This is your down payment price. Whatever the negotiation is. Yeah. Well, what about using comedy? Sometimes comedy works. It depends on your customer. There's so many emotions running when a car purchase that it's really scary to get off of the beaten path. Like when you take it down a notch from professionalism, you really open yourself up to just like a cannon going off. And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, yeah. Well, let me think about it, man," because you're their friend. You've taken all the pressure off by taking the comedy route. But if you're working the commitment and you're saying, "Hey, you committed to buy today. I'm just trying to work it out," and you keep them focused on that, then you're going to get a car deal. If you switch into comedy, you may get them the light in the mood, but you've given them an out to get out of the car deal as well. They might be like, "Oh well, hey man, I appreciate you being funny and stuff, but I got me and the wife got to think about this or whatever." You know what I mean? You've lost that professionalism as far as the commitment. Not saying that a little bit of comedy wouldn't go a long way in a really stressful situation, because it would. I mean, yeah, hey, do you want to finance this thing for 40 years? Of course not. I mean, he's got a point there. That is a good way to bump a little bit. All right, so back to the second. So now we're working them. We're working them hard because this is where it all happens. So we sit down, we shut the heck up, and then we wait for what they say, because they're going to stare at that and they're going to be like, the first thing out of their mouth is usually going to be the truth. They're going to say, "Hey, I could only do 300, man. 325, like that's it. That's what I could do, man. I could do 325 a month. I could do X amount payments. That's it." All right. Now, by this time, the desk, they've already know exactly who they're going to finance this with, what kind of money's out there, all this kind of. Believe me, they know everything going on, and they've already bet on the fact that they could finance. So if you're in a close range with your guys, this is going to be a deal. So the third go around is where this actually happens. Say, "All right, I'll be right back." And at the third deal, when you walk in, no matter what it is, you always extend your hand and say, "Congratulations." People love to be congratulated. you may very well be still a little ways off from a car deal. You could be like, hey, congratulations. I just want to say, man, I think you're going to get this car today because we're right here. And then, boom, present the numbers. This is all we had to do. We pretty much met your deal, except for maybe $20 a month and maybe an extra $300 or $400 down payment. And you just assume the sale. After you congratulate them, tell them what you got, shut the up. You don't say nothing because you got to let that momentum of the close when you walk in there and congratulate them. You've got to let that take carry you through to the end game. If you don't let it carry you through to the end game, if you get out of line one bit, if you bring up something else about the car, you're doing something else, and so and so called, and it doesn't matter. If you break concentration or your poker face right there, you've lost the deal. Or there's a good shot you've lost the deal. You may not lose the deal, but anything you're doing can interrupt and influence whether these people buy or not. So you have to shut up, and you got to sit there and wait for them to step up their game. Or they're gonna tell you, like, they're gonna tell you immediately, like within seconds. They'll be like, okay, cool, they can do it. Or if they're gonna say no, it really needs to be 320. Okay, great, we're gonna get you in the finance office, see what they can work out in there, which is no problem. So that would be how I would do it, guys. I would do the commitment, and remember, each time that you get a deal going, you want a commitment along the lines to go back and say that they're purchasing again. You also, no matter what, on the presentation of the numbers, you always want to tell them, hey, I've got you a good deal. You want to keep saying that. I know it seems cheesy, but think about yourself personally. If somebody told you they're giving you a good deal, does it make you feel good? It makes me feel good. If somebody tells me, hey man, I got you a good deal on this, I love it. My phone girl. I bust phones all the time because I'm a car guy. That's what I do. And she's so used to me busting phones that when I just show up, she just starts pulling one out of the package to replace it. Like, she doesn't even validate my argument. It doesn't even matter what I say to her. She's just going to just start replacing the phone. But she gives me a good deal, and it makes me feel good. She goes, all right, I'm going to give you this one right here for like 25% off, whatever. And I just feel so good. So always make it feel good. That's the biggest deal you could do. Now, assuming that this is all went well, what's going to happen next is you're going to get them into their finance and an insurance guy. They're called the F&I guy, which is basically a glorified salesperson that is real good at closing deals and bumping them up. He's going to be working his own angle, which is making interest profit, or selling back-end products like life, accidental health, gap insurance, all those things. He's going to be working on that. If they've got their own financing, he's going to be trying to convert them over to his financing because he can make some points on that. We'll get into that at a later point in time. But he has his own job to do. But in order to get his job done, you've got to have got them to at least a reasonable area. And if you have done what I'm telling you so far, you will have brought them to this area, and you will have a car deal sitting in front of you. I promise. So what's everybody up to today? Anything fun going on? Let me tell you what's going on. They have locked you in, or so they feel. Yes, Big Cliffy, they have locked you in. We have you on the gun sites. We are doing the deal. The ink is drying. We are sending you up the river. It's over. It's time to sell you. Actually, we're hoping that we've sold your wife, because we know if the wife wants it, we're going to get the deal. Right? Thumbs up, everybody. Hey, by the way, today I was working on a Volkswagen VV variable timing deal, the solenoid. Those things are a pain. Those things are a serious pain. I didn't even shoot a video on it. I should have, but I was just like so aggravated I didn't even want to. All right, so I tell you what I got going on tomorrow. It's not really that big of a video, really, but it's just kind of one of those things I think is important, which is the delivery of the car. I guess I could cross it out today if we wanted to. Y'all want to do the delivery of the car? Might as well. All right, so we've got the people in finance, and they're coming out, and everything's good. What I like to do to make sure that everybody's on a good note, because a lot of people get buyer's remorse like really quick and easy. And how you deal with buyer's remorse is, after they've signed the stuff, you take them to the owners. You take them to the owners section. You know what I mean? Which is, Let me walk you to my service department. Let me introduce a few people to you. You always sit them down with their owner's manual. Don't just hand them their books. You sit them down with them and say, "Hey, this is how you replace key fobs. This is where your code's at for whatever. This is how you get a quick, whatever on your car. Just give them a quick whatever. Go over the warranty with them again just to make sure that they understand it. You get them the nice warm feel. So like when somebody buys something, don't be like, "Hey man, catch you later, bro." It's never a good thing to end up like that because they get buyer's remorse quick, and the first thing that happens is they start trying to find stuff wrong. If they don't really want the car, they'll try to start figuring out a way to get out of it. So the best thing to head off buyer's remorse is a good delivery. Period. In a story. Um, Now, I'll tell you something else I do in deliveries. First, you always have a clean car and a full tank of gas. That's just standard. If you want to put out a first class product, but I usually sit with them and I do a few little things like I adjust the seat, make sure it fits. Usually, the wife put the wife right in the seat because we want her happy. But we get her adjusted, and then we turn around, adjust the stereo, show them, make sure they understand how to adjust the time. If there's a clock in the car, you always want the time set. Always want to preset our stereo for all those little things like that that people just because when they drive off that dealership, they just want to be able to push their radio, man. They want the wind in their hair. They want to be heading down, busting bugs, and life is good. That's what the main goal is. But all right, guys. So I guess that's about it for today. That's going to take us up to that's going to take us up if you wanted to learn how to sell cars, my friends. That's what's involved in it. Um, I think tomorrow we're probably going to get into we're going to get back into sleds. I call them sleds, and we're going to get back into used cars instead of new cars. New cars are fun. They're easy. They're easy to deal with, but let's face it, used cars are where it's at. I mean, we all like used cars. We like the problems that come with used cars, the profits that come with used cars. So we're going to be focusing on used cars tomorrow. Do you have any topics that you want to go over tomorrow? I got a couple of mine actually. I was thinking about, but I wasn't sure if you guys came up with anything. If you do, just hit me up between now and tomorrow. And then what else? Oh, so yeah, so our boy Autobuff came up with some stuff for me on Friday night. He was hitting me up and on bargain baskets. Yes, we need to talk about bargain basket. You know what? Speaking of bargain baskets, Clip, I think we should talk about where to get good used parts from because there's a couple different variations of that. I mean, that is a big game within a game. Like the parts game is a game. Those guys got some serious street hustle going on. Those parts guys, man, they are just relentless. So you got the Johnny Pullets. Okay, you go down there and pull your own parts. Then you got the junkyard that pulls the part for you, but don't let you. Bought myself a sandblaster. There you go. Then you got the guy that lets you pull the part. I mean, I'm sorry, that pulls the part for you. His price will go up from say a $50 hood to now you're up to $250 to $600 a hood. Then you got the aftermarket parts. Then you got the OEM parts, and then you got the online Chinese parts. Like there's a whole slew of parts out there for no matter what you want, and it's quite a racket. I mean, it is nothing regulated. Like I see hoods go from $50. I'm just using hoods because I just recently bought one, but you can use a hood from $50 to that same hood at the wrong junkyard will run from $50 to $1,000. And I wonder how many people have gotten took at the $1,000 level. Like, I mean, it is just crazy. And then all the other little things like stereos. You worry about a stereo, and then the junkyard to sell you them all day long for $25. Factory, they don't care what's in them. So I mean, you go order one online for $400 because it's factory, and you can buy one for $25. So it all depends on whatever. So I think that needs to be a conversation one day we need to have. But meanwhile, while I got you on here, guys, we are getting ready to get into this all of our retail stuff for the merchandising. And Auto Buff, I was getting ready to say, he came up with a couple pretty funny things to put up on T-shirts. So if you got anything in your, I live in a breaker's yard. I got you, man. I would, if you come up with anything cool, just let me know. Like for T-shirt, like a saying or something, just something funny that's car business related. I would really appreciate it because I'm not really that creative on stuff like that. But I'll put them up there, and we can, we'll put them up on the merch site and get them to print them for us, just so we have something cool to do. If that sounds good to y'all, and yeah, anything cool like that would be great. All right, man. I guess that's about it for today. So tomorrow we'll be logging back in at 5 o'clock. And anything you need before now and then, let me know, and we will be broadcasted for up till Friday. We'll be at 4 more days this week. And it does seem to be catching on a little bit. We're getting in rotation in the evening, so a couple people are like logging in and watching it. We're getting a couple hundred views per show right now. I think over the next month we'll probably get up pretty high. It's usually what happens to my stuff. Sometimes I get out there and YouTube's a real funny platform. Like sometimes we can put a video out and literally you might get 30 views like in an hour, and then you'll be at 3,000 by Friday, and then back to 30, and then 10,000. So you just never know which one's going to do what, but it doesn't matter. The way I'm doing the show is I'm just kind of checking off the boxes of all the subjects that are relevant. And by the time I get done with this, all of our stuff is going to be placed. You're going to know how to sell cars. You're going to know how to buy cars. You're going to know everything about the car business because I'm putting it all on the air. All right, peace out. Nothing but love from the RVA. I'm going to go out here and finish this Volkswagen, or it's going to finish me. One other. I'm not sure yet. All right, peace and love, guys. Take it easy. We will see you tomorrow.